the natural state of the free market is deflation, and we've never seen it. It means it's always been a control system. That's really hard to admit. You've lived in a lie forever. And we've always lived in a zero-sum game. If that zero-sum game was based on exploitation, all history books are out of the same zero-sum game, and they reinforce on themselves, and people don't know that they're living in a zero-sum game. If most of the money for said democracy has to come from theft, and you don't have a vote in the theft, do you live in a democracy? And laws change to support the money, and they always have. Centralization doesn't work. It assumes all of the great ideas that contribute to society have to be suppressed. Bitcoin was an open, decentralized, secure protocol bounded by energy. It would reprice everything over time. Bitcoin might be the first quantum computer or the only quantum computer in that manner that could ever exist. I hope Saylor will move deeper to it. How he started it and now what he says is very different. You want to take credit for all the really good things in your life, then as soon as there's something that's not working, you want to blame someone else.
Yes. Hello and welcome to another episode of You're the Voice. Thank you for being with me. I have the honor and pleasure of being here today with Jeff Booth. Hey, Jeff.
Great to see you again.
It's so great to be together. Thank you to Rumble and Locals for hosting us in their beautiful studio. I really appreciate it. It's one of my traditions as I'm nomading to just hijack studios around the world. So here's another beautiful one.
Pretty good at it. Yeah.
I find the best studios. I don't know how it happens. But shout out to Alex that helped me reach out to the Rumble team. Thank you so much for all the beautiful community that is helping me do this. Like it's pretty unreal. Jeff, we had a chat close to 2 years ago, when I was just starting up with the podcast.
In Madeira.
You remember, in Madeira?
Yeah.
And I invited you and you gracefully said yes. So thank you. It was just the beginning for me. And if you go back and listen to this episode 31, I was such a newbie. I was asking newbie questions. But I was asking them, like I was not shy to ask them. And one of the things you told me in that interview was we're all on a journey. And we're in different stages of our journey. And it's totally okay for you to be where you are, but understand that there are more things to learn. And, you know, I love that guidance and curiosity. And out of that conversation, I remember questioning you about nodes, for example. I set up a node. Now I am a node. So you were my inspiration to then go learn about nodes and set them up. So if you're a Bitcoiner and you haven't done, you know, you're in your journey, self-custody, nodes, like there are things that I think it's important for us to understand in our journey to sovereignty. So go watch episode 31. It's amazing. It's more for beginners. And today we're going to dive a little bit deeper. I'm just... You know, for those who don't know you, which is weird, why would someone not know you? So Jeff is one of the real ones. I call you guys the real ones. They're the people with the real hearts and visions and love and open hearts that I connect to on a different level. So for me, you know, I find true freedom and true love in meeting people like you. So I'm really, really honored to be here with you. Jeff is, he's the general partner of Ego Death Capital and also the author of Price of Tomorrow. And he has a unique perspective on technology, economics, and spirituality. And I'm going to take you on a slightly different trajectory in this conversation because I want us to cover topics that we both find fascinating, like a little bit of spirituality, consciousness, quantum physics maybe, and the intersection between them, and obviously how they all relate to Bitcoin. But I guess we have to start with like covering some essential topics such as privacy and the changes that we experience these days. So people may not fully realize, but we're living in insane times of changes and systems. The old systems of control, as you call them, are desperate to exist. So they clamp down on people, on society even harder. And I think everyone's feeling it to an extent. Maybe not everyone understands it, but everyone's feeling it. And I want to hear from you. What do you think about the time we are living in right now? How are you seeing things? Not that it's a surprise for you, but how are you seeing things shaping up?
Can I first start? I just want to first start by saying, like, look at your growth and what you've done by touching other people in that long, right? 2 years ago, just over 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And look at, by contributing to this and moving and impacting other people, what your podcast has done and what you're doing today is a result of moving your time.
Yeah, because you said, if you want to see a change in the world, you have to move your time to this new way of living, to this new system. And I was looking at my life and I was like, that's what I do, want to impact people. I want to make a difference, and I want to help them bridge that gap that they have in learning how to be more sovereign and free. So I can't just say I want to do that. I actually have to move my life and time into that.
So we're going to pick up on that theme across everything today.
Okay.
Because it's actually at the heart of all of the conversations. But your unique genius is showing up and impacting other people, and what you see as a reflection of what the world is today is you unlearning where you were and relearning how you contribute in a totally different way. And as that impacts other people, they're doing the same thing. That's what I meant to say when I said we're each on a different part of a journey.
Yeah.
That there's no way any of us could have understood what Bitcoin was in the beginning. It was new. And as we come to terms with what it is, we change.
Yeah.
It's us that's Bitcoin.
Yeah. And we allow that change to take over and come into our lives
or push it away.
Push it away.
And so we should explore that from a whole bunch of different angles.
Yes.
And say what that might look like.
Yes.
From different frameworks.
Perfect. Yeah. Because this is it. Like, the changes, the opportunities are coming closer and closer to us, and they're inviting us to do something, to take action.
So you asked. Was the specific question was
the state of the world right now, where the systems of control are slowly, they're becoming desperate, so they're clamping harder on. Their control mechanisms. And how do you see it like me? Like, is it really what's happening or? Yeah.
So let's investigate that and take it all the way down on what it must look like.
Mm-hmm.
But it always had to look like that.
Yes.
The system we were in. And then that also provides the opportunity for something completely beautiful that emerges out of that.
Yeah.
Right? So it's the clash of, you could say it's either, depending on your frame of reference, a time that would be more and more frightening, where you would lean into fear and control and coercion or more and more hopeful.
Mm-hmm.
And so both of those reside in the world today, depending on your frame of reference,
yes,
on what exists on the world. It's not outside of you; it is you.
Yes.
And but let's start from first principles,
okay,
right? And then let's investigate or decompose, attack both systems. And remember, this isn't people, it's not a people problem; it's a system problem. And that's really important to recognize. So I've said, every podcast, the natural state of the free market is deflation. The reason I say that is it's so easy. It's so intuitive. You're nodding your head. You know it's true.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And everybody nods their head, and then they move directly from that back to a different system that doesn't operate like that. Mm-hmm. And so what does that mean, the gravity of that statement? It means we've never lived in a free market. Like, there has never been a representation of global free market where we competed and the competition produced more value for everyone, and we all won as a result. Mm-hmm. So we've never lived in an infinite game like that, meaning we've always lived in a zero-sum game, right? So what would that zero-sum game, if that zero-sum game was based on exploitation, and you could either take somebody else's minerals or gold, put them in economic slavery to support your country, then it's the only thing we know, right? All history books are out of the same zero-sum game, and they reinforce on themselves, and people don't know that they're living in a zero-sum game. And so that system, because the natural state of free market is in conflict with the debt-based system. The debt-based system can't allow the natural state of free market because debt is lent into existence.
Yes.
Then we have a choice, right? Which system are we living in? Mm-hmm. So when we naturally go to the fear and the coercion and the division and all of this, that is inside the choice of the framework that we live in. But just imagine a politician saying, hey, the jig's up. We're going to let the free market work. But the money was always debt. It wasn't really money. And so everything is going to fail. Your house is going to go to zero. Supply chains are going to fail. Every bank is going to fail. And we're going to just start over.
Everything will be liquidated and...
Yeah, we're just going to start over.
Yeah.
Would you vote for that politician?
Probably not.
So is it them or is it you? Right?
Of course, it's me.
And I'm not saying you specifically here.
I mean, I would, because I want to see it, but I'm crazy, and most people won't.
You probably wouldn't, because the chaos that would.
That's right. I wouldn't want to live in such a.
But when you see that, you see there is no they.
Yeah.
It's a construct of us making choices inside a system that there wasn't a way out of that system. So that system always consolidated. It always created the same thing. We went to war so first politicians would divide a country. Mm-hmm. We would bite, right? It had to be somebody else because we don't want to see it in ourselves, right? We would bite. We'd say it's this politician is better than this one. All of those, them people, they're the bad ones.
It's that enemy.
The enemy. We would have to see it, mm-hmm. and it was really us. Mm-hmm. And then that couldn't fix the problem. So we would have to create an enemy outside mm-hmm. of our borders, mm-hmm. which we would then fall into the trap again. It's those people. In today's world, it's China or Israel or this or, mm-hmm. And there's always somebody else so that we don't have to take responsibility.
Yeah.
And we don't want to look in the mirror, right? Saying that if all of our if everything we're sitting in is a control system that has to steal more money, and we're doing everything from that control system, it has to be us too, right? But that's so hard on our consciousness, right? It's because then it says something about us, right? And it can't be about us. So we fall into these traps, and we don't have our agency. We stay there, and we're exploited through that. Then we go to war. We kill tens of millions of people. We build institutions, say, don't forget. We celebrate Remembrance Day. We'll never do this again. Well, the whole thing starts over again. And the entire history of the world is actually formed out of that very simple thing that repeats through history, because if the natural state of the free market is deflation, and we've never seen it, it means it's always been a control system. Yeah. All our isms, all of the ideas and that's really hard to admit. You've lived in a lie forever.
Yes.
It's really hard to admit on your psyche. It's you don't want to believe. So it's easier it's such a big idea that you want to put your head and it could create fear. You don't know how the new world would look. So it's easier just to put up a wall mm-hmm. and say that can't be true.
And I find that, especially in the industry we're in, where Bitcoiners are, I think obviously, generally speaking, are more brave and courageous to take that leap and say, okay, I've unlearned everything about the money. Now I understand. I've been fooled, manipulated. I see another way, and they act on it. Still, inside that group, there's also a lot of people that do not want to extend that exercise of starting to look for where else in my life have I been manipulated or haven't seen things, and they keep on holding on to the money issue only, whereas the centralization of power and control has been present in every area of our lives. As you say, we've never lived in truly free societies before.
It has to be connected to everything else.
It's all connected. So the health, the education, the climate, you name it, everything.
There isn't anything that's not connected to it.
Exactly.
Because if you ask yourself...
I call them like the subsystems of the main fiat system, right? The control trickles down from the mother system to all the subsystems below it. So if you are living life thinking that there's a way that the military-industrial complex or big pharma or big tech are not influenced by that fiat corruption, then you live in La La Land.
Yeah, so legal systems, people think...
Legal systems, exactly.
We live in a democracy.
Yeah.
But if the democracy, if most of the money for said democracy has to come from theft.
Yes.
And you don't have a vote in the theft, do you live in a democracy anymore? And then we say, don't worry, our laws will protect us. Take the most broken money in the world, take a country that broken money, and do law. So when money's really broken, essentially more theft, who do the laws protect? They protect the people? Because otherwise the laws would, in the most broken money, you would expect the laws to protect the people the most.
To protect the politicians, the ones that are stealing them.
Money is superordinate to laws.
Yes.
Laws change to support the money, and they always have. Why you see the Patriot Act today, why you see
all the digital services,
digital surveillance, why you see all of these things, which is a natural extension of money being broken. Absolutely. It has to all be connected. Yeah. Because you didn't vote for the money to be broken. Or you did, but you didn't know you did.
Okay, that's a wonderful way to start. Okay, recently I've been also banned from Telegram, and I've just done an interview with Natalie Brunel. She has a massive channel on YouTube, and every episode there goes viral. She had one with me, capped at like 2-3K. Wow. Yeah, so I'm heavily censored and slowed down by those systems, because whenever someone tries to open up the conversation, the views, the mindset to other things, there are systems out there trying to slow it down or completely close it. And as you said, they're all manifestations of that control system in the end of the day. They have to do it. Otherwise they have no existence. And that's why, I'm so honored and so grateful to find, places like these that would host free speech and would host different opinions and people and allow this to happen. But I think that all those hiccups, all those, the censorship, being banned from places, whatever, financial system debanking you, credit cards, all that shit that we are experiencing in the world right now, and free speech going to hell, wars, those breakdowns or challenges are just bringing us closer to opportunities to take action. So let's talk about human action. What is the biggest challenge for people in seeing the opportunity to act on something and actually taking it? Why is that so challenging? And where do they start? I mean, to me, this is all a matter of integrity. If I put my money where my mouth is, if I say that this is what's important in life for me and a breakdown happens, I say, I want to speak out. This is why my podcast is called You're the Voice. And then I'm being censored. It means I have to do something else. It means I have to do more Rumble. I have to be on Nostr. I'm not going to give any more of my time to Telegram, It's like I make the necessary changes. I take a loss on the paying subscribers that I had on my blog because Stripe closed me down, but I open the Zaprite and I allow people to pay with Bitcoin or fiat. So it's hard, it's messy, it's chaotic, but you do stuff to change. So where do you think is the biggest struggle for people in facing those breakdowns and then taking action?
I think it mostly comes to fear or agency. I think at the bottom of it all is agency. And they think, because if you're inside that system and you're constantly inside that system, then you're actually subverting your agency to somebody else.
Yeah.
And you're saying, they matter more than me. And then you yell at them from that because all of your views are inside there. And that can feel like, depending on how far you're down, it can feel like there's no escape. I have to do this job because my family relies on this job. So the more I do this job, the money is getting less and less and less, and I'm having a harder time. It imposes more fear. Mm-hmm. And I stay stuck when I might be able to see something totally different if I wasn't from that frame of reference. And so you see the control system, it works. Right, it works.
Yeah, it does.
But the free market also works. If you took the most broken country and you said capital controls, you have to use this currency. In every one of those countries, you see a black market for actual money.
Argentina, right? I just spent time there. Yeah,
you always see black market where the real rate is the black market rate. The free market always, centralization doesn't work. Right, it doesn't, because it assumes all of the great ideas that contribute to society have to be suppressed in favor of a few that extract from society. So it always breaks. And we're just very, very early in that breaking. Building something totally different. But the same thing is happening in Bitcoin. And the magic you see in your own life and what's happened to your own life, and the magic I see in my own life is by moving your time into a system that can't be cheated, where the rest of the world is still stuck in the other system at various degrees, yelling at the system, contributing to it and everything else. And you're literally building, you're both part of the map and the territory. Yeah. Because you're building the new protocol and the layers and what will come to free people as they become stuck. And they realize it.
This is perfect, and it's very, very accurate. And I think that, I want to talk about it later, but I think this is a right time to bring it up. The Bitcoin industry, it looks like it's being integrated into the existing systems, it feels like it's integrated into politics, into institutional, and I am one of those people that think that everything in life is divine and it has to happen in that way. And there is, everyone has to adopt it in a certain way. The question is about Bitcoin. Is it really being integrated into the existing system, through ETFs, banking, treasury companies, or we're witnessing the birth of a parallel one that will eventually replace it? Because you always talk about that split between the two systems.
Both exist at the same time, and they cannot coexist indefinitely. So they coexist only because people are taking more risk than they should inside a system. To investigate this, let's use the world we've never lived in. Yeah. Right. The natural state of the free market is deflation. For that to emerge and that be the world we live in, and we're participants of it, right? Yeah. So for that world because what is an economy?
Your The Voice is brought to you by Trezor, the original Bitcoin hardware wallet company pioneering the development of self-custody for crypto assets since 2013, empowering individuals with an open source device, enabling beginners and experts to easily and securely hold their coins. I find my Trezor super easy to use and recommend it to my friends and family. Enjoy my 5% discount on Trezor products by clicking the link in the show notes and using the code FLAT.
I want to introduce you to Abundant Minds because they take a very different approach to Bitcoin mining. Most people buy Bitcoin, but the smart ones mine it straight into self-custody. With Abundant Minds, you can do it without giving up your privacy. Abundant Minds was founded by Bo and Christine Marie Turner, a couple who lost more than $500,000 to providers making empty promises. Instead of walking away, they built a company that raises the industry standard and puts client first, and that's why I like them. With Abundant Minds, you own your machines. They never touch your Bitcoin, never skim a revenue share, and you choose your own mining pool.
Their customer care is unusual. Clients speak to a real person for self-custody education, privacy consulting, and even visiting their site. They serve clients from around the world, but US investors specifically enjoy a big tax benefit and 100% bonus depreciation. This is more than just mining Bitcoin. It's about freedom, privacy, and purpose. You can book a free strategy call, see how it works, and mine some of your first Bitcoin for free with a special offer for my audience. Learn more on abundantminds.com/Efrat.
A network of exchanges.
It's us.
Value.
Right? It's us.
Value trading.
And so every person has to compete with what was there before, and we only use the things that provide more value.
Mm-hmm.
So the direct exchange between us providing more value to each other has to be deflation.
Mm-hmm.
If you automated that, right? If you AI and robotics, it would have to be exponential deflation, exponential abundance. It would have to be true freedom like we've never experienced. And so the other system must be directly opposite from that, right? It must be exponential inflation, which remember, I didn't say deflation at zero, right? I said faster and faster deflation, faster and faster abundance, meaning this system must steal more and more at a faster and faster rate. As a result of that, centralize faster and faster. As a result of that, drive coercion, control, everything from that system.
I have to understand though, but that system, the control system, is adopting Bitcoin.
It's okay. Now, but that's actually why I wanted to say that first. Okay, so now a belief that we've always needed assets.
Yes, because we need to store.
And why did we need to store our money in it?
Because it's being stolen from. It's being lost.
Because we've never had money that could act as money.
Yes.
Right. So if you had these two systems that were, so Bitcoin was an open, decentralized, secure protocol bounded by energy. And every 10 minutes it was imposing a new system. And it appeared to a whole bunch of other people trapped in this system that these people were getting rich, right? Then, and a lot of these people would sell back to that money, right? Because now they were rich, right? They would just go back, right? A lot of people,
I get it.
Right? Mm-hmm. So it would appear, well, but both things would be true at the same time. And then if this system, if in 5,000 years of human history, we'd never lived in the system I'm talking about, then you'd have to have such a high bar on the attacks, right, that would come to Bitcoin, right? Because if it stayed decentralized and secure, it doesn't care what I'm saying about it. It would just impose. It would reprice everything over time. So now let's go to some of the attacks. China tries to stop it, right? Bans it. Other countries do the same. They put people in
KYC, everything.
Privacy tech. They put those people in
jail.
Sending signals to this is dangerous. It's only used for drug trafficking. It's used for this. Not talking about Epstein or anything else that's inside the system, but fear or control. And then it still couldn't be stopped. What would you do? You would co-opt.
You'd adopt it.
You'd co-opt it. And you'd say, this is really good for us, right? And then those people wouldn't go into self-custody. They wouldn't use it as a currency. They would use it as an asset. Which then you would just have a bigger control system, right? But for Bitcoin to actually flourish and do what I expect, when I say it has to stay decentralized and secure, it has to withstand these attacks. And these attacks are completely knowable, right? Because they're preying on us, right? And so even if it wasn't deliberate, just the incentives of that system and most people pricing Bitcoin from a piece of paper would create a natural flow that would make these attacks inevitable. They won't work, right? Because once you know what Bitcoin is, and you've unlocked your time and you use it as a currency and you're building privacy tech and you're building all of these things, you're providing a different potential future for humanity. And more of the people that are building to the other future are going to get stuck, right? And they're going to also move their time to the new future, and they can't coexist, right? One system is not the free market, and it has to centralize faster.
And it's trying to centralize something that is decentralized.
And one system is the free market.
Yeah.
And because Bitcoin, because it's a protocol, now think about some of the other things that would happen through that.
Yeah.
Which we've seen, we will continue to see. I use protocol quite often in my language. Michael Saylor uses asset. Those are two totally different frames of reference.
Very different.
Right? Mm-hmm. That have completely different outcomes.
Yep.
An asset requires a different piece of paper that's devaluing against it, mm-hmm. right? to retain control. Mm-hmm. Protocol is a network, and it comes in layers, and it delivers more and more functionality. And we can't see what the new layers emerge until they're already there providing the value. Mm-hmm. So the last protocol anybody knows about is the internet.
TCP/IP,
right?
yeah.
And it started by DARPA in 1969, right? It wasn't until 1989 to HTTP.
Right.
So 20 years.
Until the
exact same thing that we're saying Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Intranets, trying to, I'm going to control the internet. Exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
And then in 1989, how many people knew what was going to happen on the internet?
Very
few. Take out your iPhone, when you take out all of the progress around, it's all on top of that same stack.
Oh yeah.
And the protocol is winner take all. So because we see technologies more often, we think in winner take most.
Yes.
Until the new technology. So now if you had this once in a lifetime, not once in forever, right?
Oh, yeah.
Innovation that was a protocol bounded by energy, open, decentralized, secure protocol bounded by energy, imposing its will. Then from this other thing, from the fiat system, when we think in technology, it would be really easy to say, when Vitalik tried to change Bitcoin, but the nodes said, not here, right? Forget it, right? So it would be easy for him to go and say, I'm going to create something different. I'm going to create Ethereum. And then a whole bunch of people get, I wouldn't want to say scammed,
caught up,
caught up in a centralized blockchain.
Yeah.
Thinking it could be a world computer, that because he would tell them that this thing is more valuable than the last technology, Bitcoin's old tech. And so they would be, and then he would have that happen with Solana and then all these other things, and you'd have millions of these. So it would, for Bitcoin to stay resilient, to be a protocol for everything that I say is true and coming, it would have to look like this. And all of these people, through all these mistakes, it would have to look like this too, as it was imposing a new way of operating. You're literally building a new internet.
Yeah, absolutely.
From energy, right? From energy. And that's what, and so you have an internet that isn't on energy. You have on a fiat experiment, and you have an internet bounded by energy. Mm-hmm. And so what's happening, and we're in the early cycle building of that, is and Bitcoin, as most people are looking today, is a part of that network.
Yeah.
Right? So they're thinking it's a coin. They're thinking it's a
first and foremost protocol.
And most are still thinking
coin,
pricing it in a piece of paper. Uh-huh. Right?
Yeah, always dollar value, always.
But it's a protocol.
And every time I bump into people talking about Bitcoin in the context of number go up or the dollar value of it, I say, this is not Bitcoin. You don't get Bitcoin. You don't get it.
But again, maybe they do.
You're looking at it from, as you always say, from your point of reference in that old system. This is the only way you know how to look at it. But try on a different pair of glasses for a second. Come into that side.
And all of these ideas would have to bounce into each other.
Yeah.
And if you've ever been wrong in your life, then is there a potential that you might be wrong about this too? Right. And is there, and when, as you start to investigate this, you start to check these things, you start to say, and you move more time into the protocol that's on it.
I love how you nailed the explanation. The key point about your explanation is the word asset versus protocol.
And that's just one, right? So that's Michael Saylor's version versus mine. But a whole bunch of people believe in that, and it cannot be both, right?
Exactly. But I think that's the best way to explain it. The reason why you see the current system adopting Bitcoin is because they treat it as an asset and they want to co-opt it, control it.
Even if they didn't, even if you said the debt's insolvent, everybody is pricing everything that they own on top of insolvent debt. That's already just an imaginary construct.
Mm-hmm.
It's completely insolvent.
Mm-hmm.
The entire world lives on insolvent debt that they treat as real.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yes.
And then question Bitcoin.
Everyone's pretending that's a stable thing.
Pretending that
like the head of the IMF, how did she say the other day in the panel she did about the future of finance? She said, everything I'm giving you here, stablecoin, CBDCs, crypto, this is backed. It's backed by us, like by fiat. And Bitcoin is the only one that is unbacked.
by energy.
Yeah, right?
And so it's, again, this illusion that this is safe.
Yes.
Right. Well, and people are doing their research against Bitcoin from the burning building, right?
Exactly. From the Titanic.
From the illusion that all of this stuff is safe. And they know for sure the debt is insolvent.
Yes.
And they're still questioning this. But then, of course, so that I was going on and I went on a tangent too. Even if you wanted to say, okay, these aren't bad people, they're trying to repay their debt, right? And allow Bitcoin to run to make the debt less of a burden, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But the debt itself, the debt is the construct. Mm-hmm. Debt is money, mm-hmm. right? And yes, debt will come down in that system for a while before it goes right back up, right? And it won't solve the problem.
No.
It can't solve the problem.
No.
That's why I use, because what is money in the first place? It's an abstract concept for our trade. And so if you manipulate our trade through this instrument, then you manipulate us through this instrument. And Bitcoin doesn't need to, Bitcoin is money.
Yes.
It doesn't need me to say that it's money. It's already money. It's not, we just have a false concept of money because we tied a piece of paper to an asset.
Yeah.
To derive value in the piece of paper.
And we also want to think that we had sound money in the past, pristine. We didn't. I mean, gold was never perfect. Mm-hmm. It had a lot of shortcomings. Bitcoin comes and fixes many of those, but we really never had something like that before.
Yeah, and I don't want to go against gold. But
no, I mean, I love gold, but
gold was,
it is still better than...
So gold couldn't be used. Gold always centralized.
Mm-hmm.
And because it's centralized, you built fractional reserve currencies
exactly.
on top of gold until the point that gold wasn't needed anymore and you suppressed gold. And so if gold could have solved the problem of backing a global free market, then we would have never lived in a structure like we did. It would have worked. Constantly fails, mm-hmm. which is why Bitcoin as a protocol emerging in layers is a totally different construct that we've never seen.
And your disclaimer of always saying decentralized and secure, what is the level of risk that we are experiencing right now in terms of keeping it decentralized and secure? Are we doing badly? Are we doing okay?
We're doing great. We're doing absolutely fantastic. No, that wouldn't appear to be fantastic if you were outside the system. So a couple of different things here. We've always lived in a box and believed everything that we were told in that box. And then the crazies or the genius outside of that box have pushed us to new beliefs, right? Because of creating something that we couldn't see from inside our box. And the world changes, yeah. And we change, right? It's always looked like that.
Yeah.
And so today, let's use Bitcoin core or nots debate as an example, right? And you could just say, is there danger and everything else? What I love about Bitcoin is there is no box. I get to see it all. The consensus mechanism is seeing it all. The genius The genius, the crazy. Sometimes the crazy is crazy 99% of the time, but then can be genius on both sides. And instead of ad hominem attacks and different things on both sides, I get to see all of it and then choose.
Yes.
What is right for me.
Yes.
So my agency and the choice of getting to see it all of the people, all of the beauty, all of their ideas that conflict with my ideas, right? I don't know if I've ever met somebody that is 100% aligned to me.
Yep.
The genius in us is those conflicting ideas. And then we change. We don't know we've changed. And then we yell at other people. Right? And so,
Yes.
So I want to see it all. And that's what the consensus mechanism for the first time ever allows us to see. Nobody can stop it. And so if somebody tries to stop it and force us to believe something else, free market emerges with something that we can choose differently.
Yeah.
And that's what the consensus mechanism is. And so I don't think there is one thing in Bitcoin that doesn't come down to agency.
Yeah.
You have no fear if you have agency.
Right.
Because you know you're doing the work and you're watching the work and you're with a whole bunch of other people doing the work. And if you think, okay, this needs privacy, right? To be able to be, the protocol needs privacy to be, then you're probably going to invest your time into privacy tech. And you're going to and you're going to defend the protocol's emergence from a whole bunch of other people that have no idea the protocol's emergence because they're not part of it. Right. So what they're really worried about is somebody else.
Yeah.
Right? Quantum could be the same, right?
Yes.
Why would you worry about that when you have agency in that?
Yeah. And you could choose which way to go.
Yeah.
Once the threat is there or risk is there, if at all it comes. So speaking of privacy, this is a really good segue. I had an interview with Leah, the CEO of Vexel, the other day, and she said privacy is the ability to selectively reveal yourself when the situation requires it and to the point where you're comfortable with it. We see today so many things around privacy. Legislation to reveal your identity when you use the internet. KYC, linking your identity to financial services, including legacy banking, but also Bitcoin. All the crackdown on tools for privacy, like Samurai Wallet, Tornado, Wasabi closed down because of it. We see states asking us to reveal our private medical records in order to participate in life, just for normally participate in life. So it's like cracking down on our privacy in so many different ways from so many different systems. Can you share your view on what we're seeing with privacy, with regards to privacy, and what kind of tools are being built out there in order to preserve it?
No, this is something even from the book I wrote, right? If you have an exponential trend in technology, and that exponential trend is going to create AI that's going to be, if it's not general intelligence AI, it's very close to, that's going to merge with robots. And all of that is extracted from you into centralized control. Then that same AI will be used against you. And every minute you're spending contributing to that system in the fiat dollars, you're scared of the same thing you're empowering, right? You're making it happen. And you think it's somebody else, but it's you. So when you're spending your time and you're measuring your life in fiat, that has to take that and use it. Then all of those things are a derivative. Right? And so what would happen to gain more control? You would create psyops or false flags or something to scare people into giving them more control because of those other bad people. So you're safe. And not only that, you actually empower the same thing you're scared of the most, because the technology is neutral. And if you had everyone living in slavery, except for a few people at the top, they would use that same technology to create anything. Call it deadly diseases, call it anything else, to be able to burn it all down. So the control system won't work that way no matter what. But we are living in this, and I'd venture to say most people, even in Bitcoin, are yelling at it while making it stronger.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't opted out. They haven't moved their time.
Mm-hmm.
But that would also create a ton of places to provide value to society.
Oh, yeah. So many.
It's not, and so you just mentioned a couple of amphetamines, right? Cashew and others. And built on top of Bitcoin, Nostr.
Nostr, yeah. I actually do want to name a few just for people to go, because we don't have time to go into all of them, but I do want people to go and listen, for example, to the last conversation you had with Walker about Fedi. I think that's a really good podcast. Vexel is just my previous episode. Cashew, Maple AI is a private AI, PaperQ, and Silent Link for eSIMs that are private, Nostr, obviously. So there's so many. If you guys don't know any of the words I've said, go and search it.
And there would be an explosion because it's needed, and humans invent things they need. And there would be an explosion of opportunity around creating the things that people needed the most, even if they didn't know they needed.
Exactly.
Right. And so that's all that's happened, and it's emergent. It's already built into Bitcoin. So you can, if you know where to look, remain private.
Yeah.
You can use your Bitcoin in a completely privacy preserving way today. Your communications can be completely private today.
Yeah. White noise, for example, building like the signal on top of Nostr.
Right.
So there's and entrepreneurs working on that too. There's going
to be an explosion of interconnectivity.
Yeah.
Through these protocol layers that give you more and more of that. Because why? Because that's where the value has to go to protect yourself from this centralized system. Think about this in the words. I know for sure that today AI could take this podcast, or not just all of my podcasts, take me and pretend that I said something different, right? Or to my kids.
Yep.
Right. So I have to, even though I'm a public figure, I have to have a private communication channel, completely private, outside of everything else. And I would venture to say every single person needs to do this now.
Absolutely.
Right. And have something completely outside the system, because you will be attacked from inside the system.
Everyone will.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
you already are being.
Yeah, the only reason I'm exposing the stuff that's happening to me on Stripe, Telegram, banking, all this stuff is just for people to understand. It's coming to everyone at one point. You do the wrong thing, you say the wrong thing, or even if you do everything right, it has to control you.
It has to.
Right?
It has to. It can't let you step out of a belief system that gains its power from a belief system based on a lie. So that has to keep you in it. And so, but that also creates the beautiful thing that it is the free market, that is the opportunity to create value for other people stuck there.
So I think people need to start thinking, if you are in Bitcoin, and I'm not talking about the ones that are holding Bitcoin. This is the old world, looking at it from the fiat perspective. But I'm talking about if you're a Bitcoiner and you love this because you understand the potential that this thing has for the future of humanity, and you're sitting there asking yourself, what can I do to contribute? You don't have to become something you're not. You don't have to now become a developer to write code. You just need to look at what am I good at, or where is my passion, and start building and creating and doing things there.
Yeah.
Where your passion is, where your skills are.
The more people you impact positively, the better you will do. And from that, look at your podcast.
Exactly. I don't code. I speak. So
and your genius inscribed into a platform, into a protocol, that it is, that fractal is additive for everybody's benefit, whether they're here or not. You could touch one other person. Yeah. You could do a podcast. You could do all your podcasts. You could touch one person. Yeah. And change the world.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
And it's not numbers or how much but just you doing that, and the entire time you've made this protocol stronger. just by having the conversation, just by having an open conversation, an open dialogue about it.
And Jeff, I think this is something we both share because we travel around the world a lot to the different Bitcoin communities and places that adopt it and make it more friendly. And that's the thing that moves me the most. When I get to meet people that do stuff that, you would never have thought, like one person selling coffee and educating coffee manufacturers and farmers about Bitcoin. And then you meet this lovely lady from the Netherlands that decided to open a community called Bitcoin for Babies. And she wrote a book and she has her baby with her and she's educating mothers about Bitcoin for babies. And then you find this guy that wrote a book for adolescents, for teenager. And you find all these things that are happening. And obviously the circular economies and those beautiful merchants in the market that tell you that this is changing their lives because now they have more tourists coming and want to do business with them because they accept Bitcoin.
The food's better because of it, because it's natural and clean and it's outside of the...
It's like...
It's just...
It's mind-boggling to see that ripple effect. And most people... Maybe they don't see it. Maybe they just sit there and they think, oh, my impact is so small or I don't make any difference. But you have no idea what is happening in the world. Like, I think we are so lucky to get to see it.
It's indescribable. It's literally impossible to tell somebody who can't experience it what it feels like, because it's full of love. It's full of
light and love.
And from their paradigm, what they think a Bitcoin is, that would feel like there's no way, but that would be true for them because that's their mirror reflection of the world.
Yeah. So I then just encourage people to go travel to some places that you have those things and just speak to people and see, get exposed to what people are building. It's insane. Leah was telling me about Vexel, the platform. People don't just do peer-to-peer trading there. They also started using it as a marketplace. So they sell cookies and for Christmas. And the other day, someone was selling an ATM for Bitcoin on Vexel. It was like... Nice. You have no idea where these things are going. Okay, I want to ask you, we talked a lot about capital and all that stuff, but I want to ask you a little bit about consciousness. So the concept of non-duality, the idea that we are all interconnected and part of a larger whole, how can this concept influence our understanding of the global economy? If we consider that everything is interconnected and part of a larger whole, how might that change our perspective on the way money flows and is distributed across the globe? The relationship between nations, corporations, individuals in the context of trade and commerce. Like if everything is connected, and we are trying to envision and imagine that world that we have never experienced that is completely free. How is the concept of non-duality, that we are all part of the same big whole, how is that going to influence the way we see the global economy?
Okay. I'm going to take this from a couple of different directions, and I'll start here. Everything is mind, right? Everything in this room came out of somebody's mind, right? And it was created and then manufactured or made. And so the physical space that we inhabit is created out of our mind. It always has been.
Yeah.
And then we measure from the physical space and we lose touch of everything's mind, right? And throughout time, we've always seen really bright lights that then some of them are entrepreneurs, some of them are religious figures, some of them are philosophers that challenged our assumptions of their physical reality to create something different, a different idea out of their mind, right? That the world moves. And then, but if that's true, and that is certainly true, right? And then coming through our physical reality, the manifestation of physical reality comes through a broken system. Then once we were trapped in that physical reality, and it would feel really hard to see what I just described, right? Because you'd be trapped in the fear and everything else that would be created by the physical reality that came through a broken system to create the physical reality. And the manifestation from there would perpetuate.
Yeah.
You would be in Plato's cave, without seeing the shadows on the wall. You'd be, and you wouldn't know that it was you. And certain people would still see it. And you could go, let's use meditation or psychedelics. You could feel it once you escaped the cave, and you could see the whole. But then going back and working within physical reality, you would feel that
separation.
I couldn't stay in that spot that was so beautiful.
Yeah.
Right? So that's one angle to look at what would naturally happen. Another angle would be this, and I've said it a couple of times, so forgive me if you've heard it. But
okay.
But if you just look at your parents, right, your two parents, and look beyond and look at your 4 grandparents, 8 great grandparents, 16 great grandparents, and all of those people, all of the beauty in their lives, the challenges in their lives, the different things somebody walked across the street and got hit by a car that you don't exist, right? That all of these things to create you, and then you go through life and all of their readings, every single thing they did, people they met, people they didn't meet, they all those touches to create you. Then you go through your life and your version of your life and all the beliefs that they put in you. And then you start challenging those. You meet different people, and now take mine and go backwards. And all of those things in mine and yours put us here right now.
Yeah.
To the only moment that matters.
Yeah.
All of those touches, all of those people responsible for me, all of the people I can't thank, right? Responsible for me.
Yeah.
And same for you. And to this moment, that is the only moment that matters.
And actually also the only moment that exists.
Yeah, the only moment that it exists, because the other moments only put us here.
Yeah.
Right? To be able to, in this time, potentially come together and see choices that create an infinite future. Right? And most people come into this moment, every moment, and they have this view of themselves that is so locked and rigid at who they are that they don't want to let go of. Same reason why we look at our own photograph first and a picture, right? And so our story, and all these stories that we tell ourselves that are true, that we enter the only moment that matters, the only moment that is, so carried away that we leave that moment and don't see any changes.
Yeah.
Because we're so self-absorbed of the change. And when you say that connection, you can see what I just described means we have to be all connected.
Yes, absolutely.
We have to be all connected. And if we could see we're all connected, what would that look like? And so what could you create if you saw every single person as a fractal of you, right? As their genius that contributed to you.
Absolutely.
Right? What would you see in those people? What would your life look like?
What would you choose to harm or do good?
What would you choose? And even harm or good or evil and everything else, because we want to see ourselves as a good person. Like, when does cold become hot?
It's on the same spectrum, right?
And so all of these things, they're just our own thing that we tell ourselves that, because we don't want to believe we're the bad one. Right?
Yeah.
We don't, and if you tried to challenge somebody else with their belief, they were stuck in their belief, whatever it was, and you said, you're wrong, what do? Right? They defend and everything else because it's who they are. But that's just is.
And that's clinging of identity is one of the first places I tell people to start working on when they want to break through the challenges that they have. Is like, go back to see what constructs your identity. How are you holding on, clinging on to your identity as a detrimental thing? Like, if you don't have that in your life, or if you let go of that, it's like you're gonna die. like challenge this thing first. And I think it's really similar also to the place of like the fear of death, where people are so afraid of dying, where it's really inevitable. Like you're going to die. Yep. You want to confront that fear at one point, because it's going to make your life a lot easier if you confront that fear. So there are certain places, the identity, the fear of death, that are so basic in the perception of life and the perception of yourself, that can help you lighten up your experience and connect to everything you said, connect to other people, when you understand it's not all about you, and that all these definitions, all these strict structures are all created in your mind to keep you safe, to keep you out of harm. And if you knew you're safe and you're loved, then it would have been
harm. Like mostly they keep you stuck in a trap that harms you.
Exactly.
It doesn't get you to experience the entire beautiful part of life, because you're worried about competing with that other person, not seeing their genius. So what you do is you construct, even if 99% of the other person is really great, you're typically talking about the 1% that you don't like with all your friends. And it's ludicrous.
Yeah.
It's ludicrous. You're wasting your time, their time, everybody else's, on trying to matter more than that. And so, but these things, we have to face that it's us, it's not everyone else.
Tired of feeling like your freedom and future are fading away? Do you live in a country with growing inflation, crazy housing prices, weird culture, and a chaotic economy? You're not alone, and my friend Michael Thorpe and his team at Expat Money can help. Michael is the world's leading expat consultant on a mission to free you from broken systems. He's been an expat for 25 years, lived in 9 different countries, and has helped hundreds of people with second residencies and passports, offshore banking, international investing, and many other essential tools. If you're serious about protecting your wealth and your family, it's not enough to hope things will get better. You need a plan B in another country. The team at Expat Money can help you build it legally, safely, and without wasting years of research. Visit expatmoney.com/eflat and leave your details for a follow-up. In a world hypnotized and sleepwalking towards totalitarian control and digital enforcement, awakened voices rise to inspire change and radiate hope. In December 2024, I had the honor of hosting Professor Matthias Desmet at a conference I produced called New Totalitarian Order. This masterclass is now recorded and available to watch. The conference explores the psychology behind global mass processes, offering a behind-the-scenes look at science, economics, and human potential. It addresses challenging global agendas, mass formation, transhumanism, consciousness, societal change, and the path to transformation. Click the link in the show notes to access 3.5 hours of exclusive presentations, in-depth content, and my fireside chat with Professor Desmet. Use my code EFRAT for 10% off. I hope you find great value in it.
Oh, yes, that is confronting, and that is really important. I think economy will look completely different if we started taking more responsibility and operating from the lens that it's all us that matter. Like first look at ourselves and then look at everything else outside of us.
Yeah, but again, if you went, and I'm not saying that you're totally right, and if you were caught in the framework that came out of this, and you were in fear and coercion and control, and you believed all of that stuff, and you were in social media every day that was reinforcing the things to be able to keep you there, it would be hard for you to step out to see what we're talking about, because you'd be
yes.
So I totally understand that you're right, but I also empathize.
Absolutely.
People that are sucked because they think you'll probably have people comment that works for you, but not for me.
Oh yeah,
and
so much. I trigger many people with what I say. I have full compassion because I know how hard it is to see and to understand the stuff we're talking about. But this is an invitation. If this is calling you, then there is an invitation to kind of wake up to that. You were mentioning some things in what you were just saying now related to the Hermetic principles, the other day I was talking to our good friend Preston, and he was recommending the book The Kabbalion, which then you told me you recommended him, which is so perfect. Is there a certain book or certain spiritual teachers or philosophers that have influenced you throughout your journey?
I would say just a combination. That's why I say all the time, there's no way I could say one.
Yeah,
I literally,
it's a lot of influences.
But I mean that the amount of people in this space, even if I didn't agree with them all the time, and influences all the reading that I've done.
You do a lot of reading?
Yeah. Over 50 books a year.
Wow. Yeah.
And sometimes you get one nugget out of a book, and the rest of it's garbage. Sometimes it's more than that, but it's a combination of all of those things and all of the people I meet. It's not just one person. It can't be one person. And even worse, I said it before, but there's no way to thank them all. It's impossible it's literally impossible for me to even think to thank the people, to how many people have been responsible for who I am today.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you so much, and it's so moving because it's they all have a part in who we are, and we can't. I mean, what we do is we're like sponges, taking all that influence from all these different sources, and it kind of crystallizes into our own language and spark, and an identity and purpose of who we are, and it comes out in a different way. It's like this mixer,
Bingo.
Right?
We're that
this
we're
whirlpool.
that fractal.
Yeah.
That is both impact. Then we're bumping into other people, and the world is changing as a result of all of that. Right.
Wow, and I meet a lot of these amazing people along the way that influence me. I know what you mean. It's so hard to just name them, but I have to just say, like, people like Professor Matthias Desmet has made such an amazing influence on my life. I read his book, and then I've done a conference with him, and he came to Israel, and we spent a week together, and I was like blown away by the fact that you can actually, I sit with you and I talk to you. It's like you can actually create that kind of reality in which things like that happen. Magic happens because all you have decided to do is to be true to your own purpose. But then life, you're attracting this, you're magnetizing these opportunities from everywhere else. And then you connect like a magnet with all these like-minded people, those real ones that I call them everywhere. My friends Simon and Tina, and like all these people, Monica, and everyone. And it's like these big networks. So how can we even think that we are alone and we're separate and we don't matter?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're it, and every single person is so it's your.
We're the nodes, right?
Exactly, it's your consciousness expanding. That is the journey we are all on. Every single one of us, and we're part of a collective consciousness that looks like that. So through that lens, how could Bitcoin ever fail? Because we are it.
We are it, exactly.
We are actually it. Right. And so the more that you know, even if you didn't know, I didn't know this, right? And through my vulnerability on my own learning and things I would have made mistakes on before when I was investigating it and telling people how I looked before, I can see me and other people and them just
absolutely
they just them starting their journey. So why would I be mad at that?
Exactly. I was that.
Yeah.
I am that.
Yeah,
so why would I be mad? Like the other day, stuff happens with all the censorship and all the bullshit, and I get so upset and worked up, and I spend 2 days with bad energy, and then I catch myself and I snap out of it because I remind myself that I am part whole of this beautiful collective, and I am part of this beautiful experience. And what am I? Who am I yelling on? And
you realize that every time that you're stifled, because the truth doesn't have to fight.
That's right.
It just has.
And that's where I let go. I stop. I let go.
It just has to be. Right?
Yeah, and then I remind myself there's a higher guidance for you this is divine. It's happening because it has to happen, and your voice will find the way.
So that is
in the right way.
So the lie has to fight, and it has to try to hide the truth. And the more that it does that, the more opportunity exists for the truth.
Exactly.
And so if you fight this system, if you take your energy down to fight this system, that's the loss.
Yeah.
Right? When all you have to do, because the expansion is also happening, the expansion of all of the people, and eventually people will see it because they'll find themselves so caught in a lie that they'll see all the people outside of it.
Yeah.
Right.
I love it. Okay, can you share a little bit about we talked offline about a new research that is being planned around Bitcoin and quantum physics. Can you say a few words about that? What is coming down the pipe? I'm curious.
Yeah. So I'm not going to give the plot away.
Without spilling the beans.
Yeah. So there's these two brilliant people that have been put together. This paper is now, I think, 150 something pages.
Did you see it?
Yeah, I've seen it for better part of a year and contributed. It's theirs. But I've been watching them, giving some ideas, and they came to me, as lots of people do, because a system problem can't be resolved from a system. And if they'd looked at quantum physics or standard model physics and quantum physics, the unification of those that's been 80 odd years and still not resolved.
Yeah.
This is the same thing. They're going to release it in a month or two, and I'll get them on your podcast to be able to. But
I would love that.
So crazy, fascinating that it'll be challenging for many people as well. But the idea that Bitcoin might unite these fields that have been disparate for a long time, or being able to see a unification of these fields. And if that's true, there's zero threat for quantum physics or quantum attacks on Bitcoin. In fact, Bitcoin might be the first quantum computer, or the only quantum computer in that manner that could ever exist. I'll just say that for now.
Okay.
I know that's going to create a whole bunch of people say from their framework saying, no, this is a risk and everything else, but we'll let the paper stand for itself.
Oh yeah.
And then
can't wait.
But at the very least, this is going to provide new lens to explore Bitcoin. At a deeper level, it might unify the physics field in a different way.
The Newtonian physics and the quantum.
Yeah.
Poof. Wow, wild.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
And by the way,
yeah,
this is what we get to experience
right
every day by seeing
we're on the forefront.
Different genius coming in and activating into this protocol, and it's everywhere. It's that mind, right? It's that more and more people. This is what my unique spot that I get to see is that it's just wild to see the talent moving to this.
It's so humbling. It's an amazing experience. We've both been to El Salvador a couple of weeks ago, and we met with Bukele, speaking of genius. And, a little bit like you, I was curious, fascinated to sit with him personally and hear from him how he sees things. And not just, when I meet people, it's not just about hearing their words or understanding the information they give me. It's about feeling their energy. And we both sat down at the same table with him and spoke to him and looked him in the eyes. And I think, I don't know, I want to hear your experience, but my experience was that I could look through, his eyes had so much kindness in them, but also he's a little troublemaker. Like, he knows what he's doing, and he's so smart and so switched on, and so yet so kind at the same time. And when we spoke to him about Bitcoin, he was like, it's super clear. It has to be money. Like, Bitcoin has to be a currency. That's the end game, period. And the way to get there, yep, more grassroots, more circular economy, more people understanding that this is money. And that was so refreshing, and zero fear I felt from him. Like, speaking of energy, there was nothing, yeah, sure, I'm manipulating, not in a bad way, but just like I'm navigating through this rocky sea of, I've got forces from, IMF here, China there, US there, my own people here, Bitcoin here. How do I make it all work in this puzzle? Very, very calmly, and yes, it all has the right to exist. The question is, how am I playing this game? Mm-hmm. What did you feel? What was your experience?
Yeah, so, I helped put on that conference, and I helped because I went and saw him before, and I came away convinced that he's the real deal, that he actually wants to, because you saw the attacks from Bitcoiners when he took the IMF money. And so when he said to me that if my people run nodes, get into self-custody and use this as a currency, then it's unstoppable. I realized that was I'm going to contribute my time here. Because if he's going to put me on a stage or help me put on a stage that I can help people get into self-custody, then even if he ever changed his mind, it wouldn't matter.
You've already given that information.
Given agency to people who can actually make a difference.
If you let someone like me speak on stage for 30 minutes about how CBDCs are cracking down on their freedoms and how Bitcoin changes this, then, you allow this information to reverberate through space and time, and people take it.
So and people take it. And so you put a national stage and you tell people to go into self-custody and run nodes and spend this. That's a big deal. Have you seen another country do that?
Have not.
Yeah, no.
Nothing. You put Ricardo Salinas talking about how state owns your money and you have to separate money and state. This is another level. Yeah. You get that nowhere in the world.
You're right. So that just sent a signal. Now, any single person, you, me, we could change. We could go back to the other system. We could and the incentives of the fiat system, the coercion. I suspect you're not going to change. I'm not going to change. I'm building this new world, but you have to assume that a lot of people could do that, especially leaders.
Yeah.
Given, I was with John Perkins, Confessions of an Economic Hitman, and he said to me, we went into these countries, bag of money and a gun, and take the money for your family and friends, or we're going to create an attack to replace you. And they all had a choice, and they knew they had a choice. And so when you sit with somebody that was part of the IMF and the infrastructure that did this to countless countries, that tells how this works, and you realize that Bukele had to be up against that too. And he's still telling his people to go into self-custody and spend in bit.
And he's setting up 500 classrooms to teach kids.
Teach and everything else. The resolve starts to become more meaningful, right? And you realize that maybe he can keep that resolve. And whether he keeps it or not, or stays in power or not, if he has a 93% approval rating, and his citizens are taking their agency, then he might go down as one of the best leaders of all time.
I agree. And it's not about politicians or power. I don't give a F about that. Sorry. It's like I was never impressed by people's money or power or anything. Like I can sit with anyone and look them in the eyes and just feel their energy and talk to them heart to heart or, eye to eye. And it's just impressive to see that person doing what he's doing.
Yeah.
It's not about the power or the money that he has. And people around him that help him on that mission need to have so much courage and agency to do what they're doing. And I salute them because it's not easy.
And then this creates a real challenge for people looking through media and what exists there.
Yeah.
So if you go and you experience now,
100%.
How many times have you been now?
3.
Yeah, same here. 3 times. Went the first time just after the gang war, when there was a
little
spark of light, that of hope, but it was fear and everything else of of a population that had lived in turmoil, largely created by control systems.
Yes.
They had lived in turmoil their entire lives and generations. They'd lived in this deaths, gang wars, everything else. And then to see this spark of light when Bitcoin, even at the gang war that created, and then go back again and watch that country today in 3 years.
Insane.
It's insane.
Yeah.
To see the progress, the hope, the smiles on the kids' faces, what's happening there. And then equally insane is to go back to Canada and hear people talk about him as a dictator. And
what an irony.
And so I know that people who have never been there, who never cared about us, right, are so sure of their point of view because they're listening to a news that is completely biased.
Absolutely.
They won't even look. So it just shows how much power media has over you when you so believe something without ever investigating it yourself.
It goes back to what you said before. It's not just the media has power over you. It's because you didn't take the agency, the power back to yourself, because you are allowing someone to influence you with a narrative. Why are you allowing this? That's like, why are you letting that come in?
I've traveled to 85 countries. And what's always, even when I first started traveling, kind of 18, 19 years old, and it always dawned on me what I'd thought. And then I met people where they were. And everyone you met in every country was exactly the same hopes, dreams, same. And it was totally different than what you would be led to believe about said country. And so that's always just stuck with me. So I always wanted to look deeper. How could I have thought this before about these people?
Yeah, what you say makes me very sad, because this is, I come from a war zone, and people don't like hearing me speak about, we don't need war and peace comes from within, and all my messages don't resonate with the people back at home because they're so indoctrinated to seek the enemy and be threatened by someone. And when I sit down with beautiful people that I meet all around the world, from Egypt, Jordan, Palestine, Lebanon, right? And we talk, in the end of the day, we all just want to live our lives freely and happily, and we want to take care of our families and communities and prosper and love. And we dehumanize the other so much that this is just, if people don't see, but that's what perpetuating the endless wars and the fiat machine, to just allow it to keep going. So it's take time to look inside. Just today, I left a WhatsApp group of 900 people in Israel because it's a crypto group, and they criticized me for what I said on Natalie's podcast. They were like, oh, the big libertarian freedom fighter, we were surprised to hear that you think that we don't need to go to the army, or that your son shouldn't go to the army. And I'm like, you don't get that, right? It's so nuanced, this conversation, and doing it on a WhatsApp group with 900 people is probably not the best way to do it. But I'm not against army. I'm not against protecting oneself. I'm not against, the concept of military. I think that is important in life, but I am against exerting power over others from a superior place. I am against non-voluntary participation in a military. If you want people to go to an army, you cannot coerce them to do that and risk their lives and even give their lives out. You need to allow them to choose if they want to do this. And many people do want to do it, and it's fine. Just like some people want to hold guns and arms. It's okay. It's the whole concept of violence. There's a way to manage this in order to to preserve protection versus to exert violence in a bad way. But when everything is black and white and polarized, and if you don't think like me, because again, you're clinging on to your identity as an Israeli, as a whatever, then there's no room for discussions. And I'm sorry, I'm going on this tangent, but
that is that
it just made me so sad to hear you say that, because we all, in the end of the day, want the same thing, right?
So, do you know Fatty?
Of course. In El Salvador, we hang out together.
Yeah, so he's on the exact other side, right? And when you see two beautiful people, right, on this exact same thing, and you see that their population suffering in different ways,
yeah,
right? You can't, and those populations then turning to more hate,
yeah,
right? And each so rightful in their way, not realizing that they're being orchestrated.
Exactly.
Right? To feel like that through the system, anyways, that's actually why I can't get into those, because I can't resolve it from there.
Yes.
There's nothing I can do to resolve that. I can only build fuller.
Yeah,
right?
outside.
Build a better system.
Yeah.
It places it. And then people have their choice to opt into it or not opt into it in time. And you'd expect that more and more people, when they see the choice for what it really is, will opt in.
The scientist that I love so much, that I keep telling you about, is Federico Fagin, and he keeps saying that the universe, the quantum universe, is all about free will and consciousness, and what the soul's goal is to know thyself, know itself. Like that is free will. Will is the want, the want to know, and freedom is all about consciousness. It's all about knowing, getting more information, getting to the root of who you are. So when life is based on free will and consciousness, then you are basically just seeking to know yourself better and better all of life, all of this journey, right? This is the soul's wish, to know itself better and better. And we have free will and we have consciousness, and we just need to tap into those things and exercise them. And this is like, we don't live life like that. We live life so caught up in that third dimension with the fear and the hate and that box that you were so well, painting the picture of before. But when we step outside that box and look at life through the lens of, we have free will and we have consciousness, we have agency to exercise action through the lens of free will, and our consciousness will lead us to the right place. Life looks completely different.
Everything's easy.
Everything's easy.
Really, really easy.
Really easy, that's right.
Easier and easier, and you can just let other things be without having to feel like you're mad at it or anything else. You just realize it just is. And if your life doesn't feel like that,
yeah,
right? Just because you can see other people's lives that don't look like that, and you can pinpoint exactly what it is that keeps them there, but you can't see it in yourself. So the best way to do it, if there's an area of your life that feels like that, then it has to be you too. Right? It's not. I know this from some vulnerability. You want to take credit for all the really good things in your life, and then as soon as there's something that's not working, you want to blame someone else.
Yes.
If you're taking credit for the good things, you have to take credit
for the bad things too.
It's you. It's 100% you.
It is so confronting.
There's no one else. And the minute you really realize it is you, you have a chance. It doesn't mean you'll change. Doesn't mean you have to change. But now you have an opportunity to discover the thing that can change you and bring you into a totally different spot.
Perfect. Okay. Looking at the time, this is such a beautiful conversation. All right. We have a good half an hour left, and I took a photo of you and put it on Noster, where I put most of my energy these days because that's where I want to see growth. And I asked the dear people on Noster, what do you want to ask Jeff? And they came up with some really good questions. So can I ask you them?
You bet.
Okay. So Dan Gilshanian, thank you for the zap on Noster, Dan. He asked, why is so little capital going to funding projects in the Bitcoin space?
I think just people don't realize how profitable event and an opportunity it is. Same reason why Bitcoin is still being measured in fiat. It's being predominantly, and they don't understand what's happening in the kind of all of the different pieces of the protocol that are emerging and interoperable together. We can talk about some of what I see there as well. But
please,
in capital today, people are still gambling, and in like if you can do a token play in your A16s, and you do a token play and you sell to everybody else before it crashes, then to your LPs in that fund, it looked like you did really well. Right? And so this perpetuates on itself, and it brings more and more kind of hot money. The entire system is like this, and you have this new system emerging. And if you're making a little bit more sats than you're spending, you're operating at a different level than just about everybody in the world. You're operating on top of Bitcoin, but creating a free market enterprise that doesn't have regulatory moats is hard because you have to create value for somebody else that's expressed only when it gives them value. You have to time that, and then because if you're too early, there's not enough people there. Let's use Noster, right? It's early, so and people are okay. I have this idea for this marketplace, but there's not very many people there, right? So it'll be small at first, right? And what you'd need to do is instead of try to create a global company, create a local company, create something valuable just for people around you, right? Yeah. And then extend that. But if you created value there, and it was a lot of value, other people would come and try to deliver more value and attack your value, right? So it's a constant. The only way you can stay is provide more value forever, and there is no moat. And now that if you're a capital allocator like Egodeath, you have to really understand what that looks like too, right? And you have to, and there's more and more, like if I look at it, how easy it was to raise our second fund and how I think that's because, well, to date, are we in, I'll get this wrong and then but I think we're in 16 companies, but seed and series A, and there's not a failure in any of our companies yet. I'm not saying that won't happen, but that is so ridiculously.
That's rare.
Because in the fiat world.
Oh, yeah. Most startups fail.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
They fail in those early stages.
And they're still unprofitable when they go public, dumping their shares on public after all of this money, and most fail. Many of the companies are going from seed or Series A to profitability and growing extraordinarily fast. Now, I cannot believe that more people can't see this. And they will in time, by all of these types of companies. And it's not just us, it's Matt Odell and
Axiom
and others, and
Fuller,
and all of these that are helping support the ecosystem, or I won't even say helping support, being really great financial allocators by building value in a free market. And if we're right, those explode and create so much value that attracts more capital into this ecosystem. So the success is from the success. The success begets success, and we're just early in that journey, but it's so exciting.
It's unbelievable.
Like, I can't believe now the valuation differences too. Yeah. So to the person's point, some of these companies should be valued. Now remember, they're adding Bitcoin to their balance sheet each month.
He's an entrepreneur, by the way, of a startup.
Some of these companies they've found product market fit. They're expanding the ecosystem, and they're adding Bitcoin to the balance sheet each month. what would the terminal value of something like that be, right? It's outrageous. So we wouldn't sell these. Like, I don't know if there would be a price to sell some of these, because in time, those things will dividend out.
So the valuation is going to go off the charts.
Off the charts. And people will realize that the measurement device in this other piece of paper, I've been losing money the entire time. Right? I thought I was making 20%, but I was losing 40% just by, so all of the other money, you don't have to be mad at it because it's being repriced.
Yeah, you just have to leave it.
So, but if he's an entrepreneur in this space,
he is, yeah.
Then
he has a company called Agora.
Okay, so then the critical thing is because we're early. Noster's early, all of these other things are early, and there's different pieces of technology and or different pieces of the protocol that you could take this AI, something else, and create something totally new. And a lot of times in the first wave of technology, the first wave copies what was there before, right? A little bit faster, but the real innovation is doing something completely new with new tools that delivers some value in different ways that they couldn't even imagine. And so I'll use an example of something Pablo is building, right? Yeah. So on Noster. So your public-private key on Noster is actually the only thing that you could create agents, narrow agents, and agent swarms that can't be shared across Google's infrastructure. Okay. Because it's behind a private cryptography and it's on Noster. Okay. So what does that allow you to do? A specific agent can do a narrow task better than, right? You get in these big models and they hallucinate, and the more and more hallucination it creates, there's no way to solve that in AI. But there is a way to solve it through narrow task, similar to how we solve problems. Division of labor, right? And now you take the division of labor, and that agentic agent is free, doesn't need the model, and is better. It's faster. Now you string it with a different one that does a different narrow task and a different narrow task, similar to the way as we build companies. And now these things cannot leak your information to something else, so they can stay narrow. So that type of thing on Noster is something that big tech can't solve, but Noster can solve. It builds a totally different agentic world that is free, that it gets better and better and better and faster, and big tech wouldn't even see it coming.
Incredible.
Yeah, so this is an example of something that's being worked on right now, and you could take one of Pablo's agents, or two of them, or three of them, where he has expertise, string them together with somewhere where you have expertise, and create a model.
Phew. This is going to explode so badly, Noster and everything around it. People have no idea.
And all this stuff is interoperable together, right? So it's all, of course, on top of Bitcoin. These apps are interoperable, so you don't have to go to Stripe to be able to implement Visa, right?
Exactly.
You're already embedded. You don't have to build. The developer doesn't have to build more code. It just all plug, play, create something new, and at the speed of that happening.
Can't wait to see what the future holds. Speaking of value, because you talked about how if you can't scale right now because it's so early, build local, right? And give more value to your target audience. And in the first conversation we had about 2 years ago, when I asked you about marketing, because that's my background, that's where I come from, doing about 20 years of marketing. When I teach people marketing and personal branding, I always tell them that the misconception about marketing is that it is advertising, is that it's pushing something down someone's throat. It's selling them something that they may not need. That's the problem with marketing today, which again is a derivative of the fiat system, of the control system. But the way I always teach marketing is as value creation for your target audience. If you know how to narrow down your target audience in the proper way, and all you care about is providing value to them, and everything else is a derivative of that, of that value, then this is the best marketing there is, because it's based on value. It's based on creating value, and it's based on values that you define for your brand, on an identity of a brand that is built on a real purpose and vision and mission. And it's self-serving. And you don't need to work hard, and you don't need to push something down someone's throat, because you're actually providing the value that you need in order to solve the problem that you're solving. So that kind of marketing, if you look at marketing from that lens, do you see that that's the type of marketing that more Bitcoin companies are going to adopt?
Yeah, well, the smart ones will. Right. And then they'll scale that. They'll use technology to scale that too. They'll use agents to be able to scale that target fit to find more of that type of buyer. And they'll, but that key part that you just said is so often missed, because, and by the way, it was missed for me too as an entrepreneur, because what ends up happening is when something's not working, you want to spend more yelling at people, and because that. More money,
yell louder,
can make it work in the short term.
Yes,
but it
will be a patch.
Exactly. But what it's actually, and you're taking that money, spending it in market.
Yeah.
And you're removing it from building the product for the people.
Yes.
Because you're spending the time yelling at them.
Yes.
So I'm not saying that there isn't a marketing opportunity, but marketing should be all about value creation.
That's right.
For people, and the iteration. To be able to, before you go and start yelling from the rooftops about your thing, the iteration is making sure that it's valuable, that crazy valuable, sticky, that they love it, and do it in a tiny, tiny subset first.
Yes.
Because you'll get faster iterations.
Yeah.
To be able to create that value.
Yeah.
It'll cost you way less, and so the entire team should be focused on that. And it doesn't matter if your original concept of what you were going to do becomes irrelevant, because it was just your original concept of what you were going to do. Change with what you need to do to provide value.
A lot of entrepreneurs now in the Bitcoin space are telling me that they're looking for good marketeers. It's hard to find. So if you are a marketeer, you can reach out to me. I'll connect you to some people, because it's needed right now. We need good salespeople. We need good marketing people. If you're listening to my podcast and you are not in Bitcoin yet, or a Bitcoiner, which many people are, and you're in marketing, it's like this industry needs you. So if you're a good marketeer, you definitely need to check out the opportunities. Muriel is asking, what's the biggest challenge you see that Bitcoin entrepreneurs face today?
What we just talked about. Just talked about. It's just narrowly defining the product market fit.
Yep.
Not spending a ton on that until they've proved it. Like iterate, prove it. The evidence of other people using it is the thing you need to be able to raise your first money.
Yeah.
Typically the first money, I'll say for an entrepreneur's job, because if you're too late, the opportunity's gone.
Yeah.
If you're too early, a lot of times your cap table looks so terrible by the time that it emerges that you lose the opportunity.
Yeah.
It's a grind. So timing is a huge part of this, and why it's so hard, right? So all of these things are changing, right? The ground is shifting to make your job easier and easier to deliver value. And if you started over here before this existed, you have this embedded cost that you don't need anymore for this shift. So you have to be aware of all of these things that are constantly shifting to be able to provide value. And then you have to drive into that market to provide value. So it's constantly testing your assumptions and everything else while you're doing it, constantly talking to your audience and iterating until you find it. The other thing I would say, just from a VC lens, is your job as an entrepreneur is also to stay alive.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So whatever you have to do to raise capital, if you need capital, ideally you don't need capital, but if you need capital, then you have to get to proof points to be able to raise capital, and then more and more proof along the way. But a lot of times you have a stall at some time, or something happens and it's a curveball and you need more money.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times VCs can't really participate because you haven't made it from seed to Series A, or so you decided you thought it would look like this, you're underfunded. So your job is to always have a parallel track.
Yeah.
That nobody can say no, right? You have parallel tracks that are insulated from each other, that if you have to raise from friends and family, or if you have to pass the hat around to be able to at a lower valuation, whatever it takes to make sure that you and your team
stay alive
to do that. Sometimes it's cutting costs, sometimes it's iterating. And for me anyways, I am not shy one iota of saying, I thought this is what I learned. Here's the actual reality now. Here's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
Right? I think too many people get caught in trying to defend a previous reality.
Yeah.
And not knowing they're defending a previous reality and just staying stuck.
Yep. There you need also humbleness and curiosity. So, and introspecting. So another person called Furious Honey Badger is asking, the 4-year cycle, do you think it's broken?
Yeah. So I know the halving cycle used to release a lot less coins, right? In each halving cycle is a lot less coins. I've never considered it from that lens. I've considered that if this stays decentralized and secure, it's repriced.
Yeah, because that's fiat.
Right, that's fiat.
Yeah.
So I just don't look at that, and all the narrative around it is reinforcing why just people are waiting for it to go up in fiat dollars. I just don't look at it that way at all. I look at more broad-based adoption and what are the things that are needed to unlock more adoption.
When I was in Argentina, in Buenos Aires, we spoke on a panel at La BitConf about the Bitcoin in 2026, and the first two people in the panel were Francis Pulio and myself, and then Joseph Tedek, and we were 5 or 6 people on the panel. 3 of us, when we were asked about the Bitcoin price, we were like, we don't care. And the other 3 were like completely on this. So, and it was so clear, the difference in our answers, that we don't even care about the price. I mean, let's go to the next question. And other people got stuck on it. So it really shows the difference in the Bitcoin community and how
when you watch Twitter, virtually everybody's
talking about the price. Yeah.
Or a derivative of the Bitcoin pricing control system or something else. They don't know that they're still in the other system. Yeah. They're not in Bitcoin, right? They're still giving all of their attention and energy into that.
100%. The Wrathful Buddha is asking, why did you move from Canada to Miami? I mean, we all know why, but why Miami? That's how we asked it.
So Miami's probably a transition step for me, and the way to get out of Canada in a way that's
smooth,
and everything else is this
soft landing.
This was the best stop. I haven't decided. And I also didn't want to feel like I was running away from.
Yeah.
So, by the way, it's the same thing is true for Bitcoin. Mm-hmm. I think some people feel like Bitcoin and they're running away from something.
Yes.
I don't feel like that to one iota. I feel like I'm building towards something else. And I needed my move from Canada to feel like the same, my family, to build to where I wanted to go. What does that look like? And so this is a step along the way and I realize what the world's going to look like. It's going to look more chaotic. Things could come fast, right? And so this was a way to design some more flexibility into what I'm doing without picking the place I'm going to be forever.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm totally with you. We all need a plan B these days.
Yeah.
Little Johnny's asking, when it comes to orange pilling with the original Bitcoin ethos, peer-to-peer cash, no third parties required, who are the most important targets for the orange pilling?
We talked about this extensively. And for me, it's everyone. And it's everyone because you don't know the person that you talk to could make a difference to tens of millions of people. You have no idea. So I don't think there's a subgroup, if anyone, it's all us, right? So I know it would be easy to say, okay, it's politicians or this. I don't think that's true. Like, I just don't.
I agree with you.
It can be those people, but each person's going to see it in their own time. And you can imagine how many politicians from various stripes come to me, or 3-letter word agencies try to, I've seen it all. And what they're describing as they're coming to me is how they want to see Bitcoin to fit with their narrative.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter because it's imposing a different reality. So I can let them be. I can listen to the questions and everything else, and I can let myself be who I am, right? And just watch that. But what I think by being like that, by not trying to force it, just allowing it, and speaking my truth, letting people find it in their own time, the asking questions like a first principle, like this natural state of the free market is deflation, forces somebody to resolve the paradox in their own mind.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't. And once they've resolved it, probably did you say Little Johnny?
Yeah, Little Johnny.
Okay.
You've got a good memory.
Yeah. So, because he's interacted with me a bunch on Nostr.
On Nostr, yeah.
And one of the things I would just say, and many of the others have too, and just I remember because they're interacting and they're making a difference.
Yeah.
And they're touching other people and they don't even know they're touching other people.
Absolutely.
By doing it. So I think that's how this moves, and each person in their own time moves deeper and deeper to this. I hope Saylor will move deeper to it.
I hope so too.
Because right now it's how he started it, and now what he says is two totally
very different, right?
Very different.
I look at his early videos. It's like one of the ones that I love the most is him going on a rant of, you don't want to take my Bitcoin in this state, so I'll move to that state. And if you don't want to take it here, I'll move here. And if you don't want to take it here, we'll move to another country or another state until we find the right place that treats us well. And then by the end of the rant, he goes, tax that.
Yeah.
And you will never hear him say that today.
And yeah, but maybe it's because he's now inside a public company. His public company is regulated by this, and he's had a tap that, and
yeah, maybe.
But it almost doesn't matter, right? There's two realities, right? There's many potential realities out of this, but in his reality, what he doesn't know is Bitcoin fails because it would be centralized, it'd be extracted from, and something else would replace it eventually, anyways. And probably in his reality, which he doesn't know, is the thing that replaces it isn't something else than Bitcoin. It's Bitcoin taking his part of the chain to zero.
Yeah.
Right? But it cannot, the free market cannot exist in an inflationary system. And what he's talking about is an asset under an inflationary system.
Yeah.
And these are incompatible, right? So now everyone else has a choice. Now, I don't think that this is the nuance in these conversations. I really like Saylor. I don't think he's a bad person.
Yeah, same.
Good, bad, right? He's brought a whole bunch of people to Bitcoin who will then discover this truth, but they can't both be true.
No.
Right. There's and every single person is going to face their own existential crisis of which one's true for them.
At one point.
At some point.
Yeah.
Every single person.
Every single person. I agree. Okay, before we wrap up, this is such a beautiful conversation. People want to get to know Jeff the person a bit more. What are some habits or practices that help you stay focused, productive, and energized? What keeps you grounded?
We talked about it, actually. We talked about
the people,
the moment.
The moment.
Being
present in the moment.
Every moment is my moment. I think about that all the time when we went out on the boat today.
Yes.
If people realize I think they think I'm frenetic busy. My life doesn't look like that. right?
It doesn't feel like that, right?
It doesn't feel like
it is busy, but it's not feeling like overwhelmingly
it feels
busy.
like I choose everything I do.
Absolutely.
That I cannot believe I get to do them with the people I get to do it with. It all looks like that.
Yeah.
Every moment looks like that. And I'm not saying sometimes you get a curveball and everything else that doesn't look like that. But then if it looked like that from the same person all the time, that I wouldn't do that anymore.
Uh-huh.
And so it's abundant. It's love. It feels really good everywhere. And if it didn't, I would know it was me.
Yeah.
And so I'm not saying it always did, right?
Sure.
A lot of these things I've come to learn that it was me blocking the thing that I thought was everyone else. And it was only by internalizing that and finding that thing that I could remove it and live differently.
It's beautiful. How do you prioritize some activities that bring you joy and relaxation? How do you decide this one is good, this one is less good?
Just things that just flow through life, and the things that I like. I love hiking, camping. You name a sport: volleyball, skiing, swimming, surfing, hanging out with friends, playing guitar. I don't know.
You play guitar?
Yeah.
Since when?
Since I was 19.
Really?
Yep. 18, I think. Yeah,
classic guitar?
Yeah,
or
on a campfire, right? Just classic.
Or electric?
No, classic. Yeah.
Wow. I want to hear that once.
My friend and I did at that time took it up because we said guitar guys get the babes. and so it was,
I think it's kind of true.
It's kind of true.
My son is now learning guitar. Exactly. He loves it.
Yeah.
He's so cute.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah. Well, you got the babe. And lastly, maybe, Jeff, what gives you hope?
What we do. There's this conversation, not just this conversation, but all of these conversations, that when you're authentic in your true self with other people that can be authentic and just be themselves, it doesn't matter if they get Bitcoin or not.
Yeah.
They will in time.
Yes.
It's you can feel the energy when you're around people like that. You can feel it cascading between you, and that should give you lots of hope. That's what the world should look like. That's what the world does look like.
It does look like that.
It does look like that. And if you spend more time on an honest layer, you'll see it looks like that everywhere. You'll see more and more people that exhibit that. So when people kind of go into Bitcoin and they can't realize what it looked like before, and then they're yelling at people, and how good it feels with people who are also operating on an honest ledger, right? That's that disconnect. Because they've already moved their energy, or most of their energy, and other people haven't, and they want to spend it around other people who've gone through the same, say, proof of work.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
To understand the world they used to inhabit, and now the world that they're in, they're building towards, and it feels like this.
It feels like home.
It feels like home. Now you have to be really careful about that, because it can also create in-group bias, right? Mm-hmm. Because in in-group bias, you want to belong to the group. If you belong to a group, you naturally think you wouldn't belong to a group that you didn't think was better than another group, right? So it feeds on your own ego.
Yeah.
And you then want to portray that you're better, smarter, something like that. And if you act like that with the other group, what will it do to the other group? Because
scare them off.
And because they're in their own bubble.
Oh, yeah.
Right? That it'll feel like it's polarizing, and you don't have to act like that. You can just be, but
it doesn't make you better, stronger, smarter, whatever. It's just like you're in a different, like Monica, my friend, always says, you dial into a different frequency on the radio, right? It's just like a different channel.
Yeah, and then some of the people that you unlock in your life, and the people that you meet along that journey, it's really like the old cliche: the people you meet along the way. Right?
Yeah,
that's what it is.
That is the best, most rewarding thing ever. Like, thank God, I don't know who to thank, myself, universe, whatever, that I met you.
And then right back at you.
Wow. Dude, this is fucking fun. This is unreal. Like, let's go play guitar and drink something. I love this. Thank God I do this
Totally.
for a living. This is like, wow.
Yeah.
Wow, this is amazing. So huge thank you, obviously, because you are the best, and this was the best conversation.
This was a lot of fun.
I love hanging out with you.
Yeah, right back at you.
Please keep being who you are. You give so much hope to so many people, including myself. I love following your work and your words and your wisdom. And so many people that I told them that I'm going to have this conversation with you today, they were like, yes, we love listening to Jeff. So please keep doing what you're doing. You're the best.
Right back at you. Thanks.
Thanks for being with us. Please take a minute to give this episode a like, a comment, and subscribe or follow. And please share it with your friends so they can also get value and choose to take some positive action in their lives. Till next time.